What's going on, everybody? If you want to support this project, the Patreon is below. It is not necessary, but it's just nice that some people decide to offer $1 for projects they believe in. With that said, let's get straight to it. I changed the visual on the aura that they have. So now there's a nice little particle effect going on along with it, blah, blah, blah. Let's move on from that. Okay, so eye movement. Eye movement is a new component to the game. So they look a little bit more alive. You can notice it a little bit less on her because of, frankly, her hair and her vantage point. But on the guy, you can notice the eye movement fairly easily. There it is. He's looking at her. Cool. So he no longer looks like a soulless brat stall. There's a screen shake for hard hits. Oh, by the way, on the eye movement thing, I had to completely redo my project in Essence because it broke my original character model because I had to add bones in Blender and then re-rig everything. Well, not re-rig everything, but just kind of reapply the rigging information in Unity, and it broke everything. So that was a long, drawn-out process, but it's in there now. It all works. It's nice. Great. The screen shake for hard hits, so if you attack them now, boom, the screen will shake, so it adds like some impact to the attacks. Yeah, cool. So there's that. There's a visual effect for the perfect block. Okay, so again, you guys all know that if you hit the buttons and then hold down R2, the attack will slow down, and that is an unblockable attack unless you perfect block it, which to do a perfect block, it'll be called something different later on, I'm sure, but the perfect block just is to hit block as soon as the attack is about to land. So let me get her away from here. 1, 2, 3, hold down, block. There we go. So now there's a visual for the perfect block, and you saw that there was a perfect explosion reaction that he did, and I'll talk about that in a second, but one more time. There we go. Cool, so she glows. The visual effect for perfect reset. Perfect block, that is like the... Oh, no, that's not the same thing. Okay, so I don't know what I'm calling these things, so I'm just using like placeholder names. So, yeah, I get confused sometimes when I go through my own lists, and through the code especially. So anyways, yeah, if he's attacking and you want to like stop attacking, you just hit the L2 button now. It's no longer hold down the R2 button and then click L2. That didn't make intuitive sense to me, so I just have it so where like you mash many buttons, it'll all queue up, and then you can hit the L2 button to get that to stop, and of course it works for the other player as well. Okay, so this way you can pre-do your combos, and if you feel like the combo is not going to land enough, or if you get afraid because they're going to shoot a projectile or something, then you can just hit the L2 button and you'll stop and you'll be able to block shortly after that. Okay, visual effect for ground explosion. Okay, cool. So when they're on the ground, if you're close enough and you press R2 while you're on the ground, boom, they'll just explode like in your face and you'll get hit. Same thing for him, R2. Alright, but if you're too far and you press R2, nothing happens. They just glow a little bit to kind of like indicate that they are, coming up from the ground, but you aren't close enough to get hit with the force, so that part doesn't show. Okay. I fixed the projectile kick math. You guys didn't know that this was a problem, but the thing that happens in my game here is, let's say you're, what is this move? Okay, so you see how quickly she does that move. It's like kick, 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 kick. It starts super fast, and then slowly she gets slower at it, right? You see how slow that is? So that's what happens like over time. Your combos start off fast, and then they get slower and slower and slower, encouraging you not to overstress your opponent. Again, super, super quick. And you already saw what the eventual slowness was. Well, what the hell was I talking about? Okay, so what that meant was when I did this projectile, which is something that comes out of her hand and then she kicks it towards the opponent, I had a few things that I had to tackle. First of all, I had to manage how fast the animation was playing so that I can determine when to kick the ball forward, because obviously it's not really being kicked. And then I also had to determine if she was on the edge of the screen, because this gets parented to her and then goes towards the goal where she can kick it. So you see that kind of arc is a lot different than when she's on the edge of the screen. So the math behind all that is all fixed, and it all makes sense. It's basically foolproof. I haven't been able to break it yet, but don't put it past me. With a projectile, if it misses the opponent. Okay, so if she shoots out a projectile, okay, it'll wither. She's not like sitting around by his feet. If she does this one, It's not sitting around at the edge of the camera, just kind of flies off stage. Let's see if we can... Okay, never mind. That's the wrong one. Oh, shoot. Okay, so it withers once it goes past the edge of the screen there. So it doesn't go on forever, and it doesn't stay in the thing like you saw in the last video. So yeah, that's great. Good. Moving on. Fix the face animation layer. So I already touched on this briefly, and let me pause this for a second. I'm going to go to here and slow this down so you can kind of see the expressions, because when they attack, he's like, yeah, and he gets really fucking serious about it. And she's like, ow, my face. And if I go around her, oh god, it's super slow. Oh, come on. Oh no, come on. Super duper slow in this. Okay. Alright, so when she gets hit, you can see her face. She's like, oh, great, of course I would do that. But yeah, you can kind of see it. Like, she's like, ow. Oh my god, she turns away for every freaking reason. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see her, but okay, let me see if I can hit him and you can like see. Oh, what the hell was that? See his face. What the fuck? He looks cross-eyed. What the fuck? Alright, well anyways, yeah, they get a little expression when they get hit. Okay, cool, moving on. Visual effects for explosive reaction. Okay, so that is when you're... Let me get this back up to a normal speed now. Okay, so when you're attacking the person, like I said in the last video, and by the way, in the last video I said that there was going to be a singularity between how fast the opponent attacks and how quickly the defender can recover. So there'll be like a singularity in the attacks where like eventually the person that's blocking is going to be able to recover faster than the other person that's attacking. Well, that actually wasn't implemented in the last video. I had the code for it. I didn't set it up in the animation animator window. So that's all in now. It all works. So with that said, if you were to continue to attack them, eventually this person who's moving right now, they'll be able to recover faster than, oh shoot, oh no, 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 no. Okay, so I broke everything. Alright, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Let me play this one more time just to, sorry friends. Yeah, there's no animator attached to the main camera. I'll talk about that in a second, trust me. Okay, so... when this person is attacking and then this person recovers, they'll be able to do what's called an explosive reaction, which is just holding down R2 while you're being attacked. Eventually, once that person finishes their combo, you'll be able to explode and punish them if they continue to attack past their combo's usual length. So, as an example, it would look something like this. Cool. So he attacked one too many times. If I'm gonna explain this like as easily as possible, if you press the kick button, the X button for me. If you do that, I think 5 times, it's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she does a explosive reaction. He's not continuing to attack, so he doesn't get hit by it. But if you do it 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hold down the R2 button, she'll be able to explode out of that. So that's an example of the explosive reaction. It just makes it so that your opponent can't spam you and put too much pressure on you. Of course, if you miss it, then you leave yourself susceptible to a counter attack that otherwise continues. And I want to make it so that the unblockable hits, these ones, bah, those ones can go straight through the explosive reaction. So that's coming. Pause impact on attack animations that land. Okay, so if you land an attack animation, there's a slight pause that happens, just to kind of like add weight to the attack. It's really hard to see, so let me hold on 2 seconds. Pause it. Okay, oh, here it is. Okay, great. I found it. Okay, so if I were to set this to, instead of 0.05 to 0.1, if you were to hit the opponent, see how it kind of like stutters there? Let me do it a little bit more dramatic. Hold on. Put that to... So, see how it's like his fist, like if he's hitting normally, it just goes right back. But if you were to land it, it sticks for like a second, just to like show a little bit of heaviness, a little bit of force, a little bit of resistance after he does a hit that obviously hits a solid object, you're going to slow down. So I'm employing a little bit of that effect. So obviously, again, when it's not hitting, it doesn't slow down, but when it does, it kind of sticks. This gives the players an indication that a hit has landed and where it has landed and what it was landed by. And it also adds a little bit of weight. Street Fighter, I think, abuses this, so I definitely don't want to put the effect in there too much, but it's subtle, it works, it's nice. I'm definitely going to keep it at some capacity, but right now I got it at 0.05, so, you know, if you're not paying attention to it, you'll never notice it, but yeah, it's there. Okay, so that's all I have for visual things that you guys can see that have changed. Let me talk for a bit about the technical changes. Okay, so there's a variable for the knockback with bigger versus smaller hits. So this, oh no, not that move, toward triangle, yeah. So this move is the same animation as this move, but as you can see, this moves the character back only slightly. See that? And then this moves the character back a lot. So we have that in there. From the last video, the head jitter from the ground explosion, so she's on the ground, she comes up, if you press R2, their head's not going to go into space like in the last video, and that was because I had them trying to look at their own face, which was kind of retarded of me. Apply speed parameter to all hits, I already mentioned that. Chain controls / logic for perfect reset. Okay, yeah, I already mentioned that. All you got to do is press L2 to reset your moves. Differing pushback for rear attacks and blocks. Okay, so if you're on the backside of the character and you do this same move, they'll move, but only a little. They won't move as far as you would hit them from like this area. And why? I don't know why. I just decided to do it like that. I deliberately had to put in something like that in the code, which made it more complicated for no reason, but I feel like it'll be useful in the future. Fixed unknown motion on y-axis. Okay, so yeah, I'll tell you a brief story. Once I changed the models and had to redo everything, I left some colliders on, and for some reason the player was slowly moving down the level, and it was because one of the colliders that I'm using for the cloth physics, like on his pants, one of the colliders that I was using for that was rubbing up against the main collider of the character, which, by the way, these characters don't move and fight using colliders. They use a vector 3 distance and dot. So I have like a capsule that just kind of like keeps them from going through each other, but that's it. So that was rubbing up against the collider that I had for his pants, and it was moving them down. So yeah, small story, small problem. It drove me crazy. Fixed projectiles sometimes not started in the same spot. Okay, yeah, so before I had these projectiles coming out of their hands, and it kind of like, it was what it was, you know. Oh, I have the hit animation happening down here. Oh, I'll have to, I think it's the hit animation. I'll have to fix that. Anyways, so yeah, that is all coming out correct. It was like going off on a weird axis before, so no longer a problem now. Great. These are all things that you can't see, by the way. Did I skip past the differing pushback, projectile world? Oh yeah, okay. So the projectile world positioning issue that I mentioned in the last video, that's all fixed. So if I go on this axis, it all comes out the same way. Doesn't look weird. Cool. Controlled head movement during hit animations. Oh, when you hit them, their head actually goes into their hands and like, ow, my face. And then they slowly look up to the player after they're done being attacked and stuff. So it's a little bit more natural. So small things. Okay, so the things that you can't see. What did I already talk about? Fixed animation issue. When some hits land, when the player would stay in place. Oh, yeah, so for some reason when I attacked the player, sometimes there would be an animation that wouldn't play. It would just stay on idle. That's no longer a thing anymore. Fixed unknown motion on the y-axis, I already talked about that. Fixed projectile sometimes up in the sun. Okay, I said that too. Solidify reset state event. This is the boring part of the video. Feel free to click away. Solidify reset state in the animation component. Okay. Fixed hit detection. Yeah, so the hit detection on the front makes a lot more sense, as well as the back. Remember, if you saw the last video, there was a problem with that. So now it's pretty damn sharp. Nobody's going to be butthurt if they don't get hit or land their hit or whatever. Cameras sometimes zooms in more. Okay, yeah, so there's a small zoom in the camera when they get hit just to kind of show that impact and kind of immerse the player a little bit more. But that was an issue. It's no longer an issue. You guys never saw that issue, but these are the things that I go through during my development hell. Determine reset state the same across all animation files. Okay, for let's say the animation file was this long. Sometimes I had it like over here. Other times I had it at the very end. I just pushed them all to the very end, so everything's very consistent now. Perfect reset sometimes it only goes to idle anim. Okay, so when you're doing this, like sometimes he would skip the whole like animation like that and he would just go to his idle stance, so I fixed that. You guys won't see that. Connected rear animations to animator, you guys won't see that either. Remove the accessories from global animation file, ironed out the missing components of the animator by also removing the blend shapes in Blender. Okay, so the Blender file for the global animations, which is all the hit layers and stuff like that, and you know how they react to grabs and stuff like that, that's all in the global animations FBX file. So what I did was I just went in there and I gutted it. I took out all the accoutrements and all the extra blend shapes and stuff that it didn't need, so it's just all cleaner now. And then I went into Unity and I fixed what was missing as far as the components go in the editor. Consolidated the shaders, so I had a bunch of shaders pretty much doing the same thing, so I rewrote them all into one thing that was kind of all-encompassing, so for the hair, for the skin, for the eyelashes, everything. Figure out blocking IK issue. Okay, so, oh, I almost didn't show you the new blocking. Okay, so I refined the blocking even more than last time. You'll remember from last time they were like reaching out way too far, or if an attack came too close to the midsection, they would like block from behind them and stuff. Now, it's very solidified, so if they start blocking, it's more or less like just in front of their face. They're not like reaching out entirely to block the attack. Let me speed this up. Yeah, there we go. There you go. So the blocking makes a little bit more sense. Cool. Anyway, so that's what that looks like. And that's it. So what's to come? So I'm going to be working on a new camera workflow. So I'm going to get rid of the default Unity camera and I'm going to employ something from Unity Technologies. It was something somebody else built, but Unity kind of bought it out and now they're giving it to all their users. So I'm going to be employing that tech into the game. It's going to mean totally revamping the camera system, which I spent so long on getting to work right like this. The only problem with the camera that I have right now is, first of all, I can't do my grab animation layering. Because it only works with the default axis that the characters show on. And I tried something to just kind of circumvent that, and it just didn't work the way I wanted it to, so get this fucking mouse out of the way. So yeah, it's all but hopeless, and I can try a million different things, but the new camera system from Unity looks really, 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 really cool, and I think it's going to add a lot more life than what I have currently in the game. So look forward to that. Let's see here. I also, before the next video, I want to implement a UI health bar. So you're going to see some UI work by the next video. A combo indicator, so as many hits as it takes before the character recovers on their own. So you'll know exactly how many hits to do in whatever sequence of buttons you want to do them in before the other player can do something like an explosive reaction. Deflect projectiles, like perfect reset. Okay, so if you're holding back and somebody throws a projectile at you, you're not going to block it. So I want to employ the perfect block, the thing like this. That thing. I want to employ something like that, and the reason why, by the way, he does the perfect reset himself is that he recovers after he gets. There you go. So he recovers, and that's just because I'm holding it on R2. You see, he goes into the thing. Anyways, what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah. So oh shoot. Let's turn back on this controller again. Oh, by the way, that is a Unity input system issue. So I'm going to eventually have to remap all of the inputs I already put in the game to something that Unity finally put out that actually fucking works. So we'll be putting that into the game eventually as well. While we're on the topic of what's to come, that's not going to be in the next video, and I probably won't talk about it much even when it goes in, even though it'll be a huge component of the game. It's kind of boring. But yeah, when you throw a projectile, I kind of want to have them deflected by holding the back button just in case, because currently you're not allowed to block the projectiles, which kind of makes sense. Like, who's going to block a knife? Who's going to block a spirit bomb thing, you know? So yeah. I would just want to make them either sidesteppable or deflectable. So it's up to the player how they want to deal with that, if they can react in time. Anyways, more directional hits and hitting states. Okay, so from behind, she only has, well, each character so far only has this high hit animation. So it always plays the same no matter how they're hit. And that would be the mid, and this would be the high. It doesn't change based on the direction that the attack is coming in. So I want to add a few more animations for the back part of the characters, as well as a bounce animation. So there's of course a few states. There's the hit state, there's the block state, there's a juggle state, there's a launch state, and you can obviously do your combos and stuff based on that. Yeah, so get out of there. So I want to add something like a bounce, kind of like in Mortal Kombat. Oh God, my friend's texting me. Yeah, to add more variety to the juggle system. But anyways, current known issues: ducking and blocking. Okay, this looks horrible. So if I put her in the ducking and blocking state and I hit high, look at look at her arms. It's hideous. Yeah, so I've got to address that. You know, she'll block the mids, but not the highs. The highs are just like this crazy, wiggly nonsense. Okay. Sometimes the head won't look up. Okay, so if they're like attacking each other, which by the way, this is a nice thing that's happened. Now I'm able to hit any buttons that I want, and there's no errors, but they sometimes don't look in the right direction. You can kind of see their head down sometimes. See how like she's hitting, but she's like looking at his toes. So that's a small issue that I know I got to look into the code and see where that's not resetting itself. Sometimes their combos aren't reset. Yeah, so if they get like knocked down and they come back up and throw out one punch, then the rest of the combos will continue. I haven't looked into that one yet, but I will. Visual issues, obviously with the models, he still doesn't have a penis and she still has a weird choppy butt. So I'm going to address that sooner or later. I might keep the models as opposed to what I said before. I said that I was going to get rid of them, but you know, I might keep them and just kind of touch up the polys on the models to make them look nicer than they are without having to completely can them. And the head jitters when walking around the opponent. Okay, yeah, last issue. So when you walk around the opponent, they see the head just see it jitter. I have no idea what's causing that, but I'll look into it. And yeah, that'll be the long and short of it. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Sorry if it sounded spastic. I know this was long, even though I tried to make it as quick as possible. But yeah, that's all the issues, and I'll see you next time with a new camera system, UI health bar and combo indicator, deflected projectiles, more directional hits and hitting states, and probably a lot of other things, because I took the liberty of copying down, frankly, all of the changes that I've made, because every time I make these videos I forget to say what I... Wow, this is a lot of talking. Go to my Patreon and donate $1 if you care to. If not, then great. Subscribe. I'll show more of this game's progress in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.